Okay, so we're delighted to take your questions about the Daily. We have mics throughout the room. I'll call on people. If you could just say who you are and what organization you're with, and then we'll take as many questions as we can.
My question is how back issue content is handled. One of the complaints about publications on the iPad has been how much memory it takes up. Can you talk about that a little bit?
For launch, saved articles is the best way to find content that's been published previously. We also can share stories on the web because there are HTML pages of stories as well. You can find it archived on the web. We're working towards a more internal search and archiving function, but it's not there for 1.0.
Good morning. Jeremy Peters from the New York Times. Mr. Cue, when does Apple plan on making this subscription technology available to other magazine publishers? And when that happens, do you view that as a way to kind of push the restart button on your relationship with publishers?
It's available today on the Daily. You'll hear an announcement from us very soon for other news publications. We have a great relationship with publications. We have thousands of them available on the App Store today, and we think subscriptions is only going to help them get more customers.
Hi, Tyler Gray, Fast Company. Can you say how you're going to be measuring for advertisers the impressions or the subscribers, the number of people who are clicking through?
Yeah, we have technology built into the app that will do that, and I should have even emphasized even more in my initial opening remarks how much we love advertisers and marketers and marketing. And so we intend to be, we really not only cutting edge in terms of the technology that we deliver to advertisers, so they can do some really innovative things that we're working on, and obviously all the metrics that they require to make their media plans.
Hi, Shelley Palmer Digital Living. Mr. Murdoch, could you tell us how you will determine whether this is successful or not in your mind?
Yes, when we're selling millions. Our ambitions are very big, but our costs are very low. So if you talk about success financially, it's really a pretty low figure. But we think we can go much further than that. We have spent, I'll just be quite clear with you, in getting to this stage with the development and everything, $30 million, all of which has been written off in the figures that will be announced this afternoon, actually, in the 6 monthly figures. But it will be running at a cost of less than $500,000 a week, and that's without any subscribers or without any advertising. So we're very confident of the finances. But we expect, them to be quite revolutionized when we hit the big figures.
A couple of questions. When you look at the Daily, how do you think about the competitive landscape? Is this competing with a newspaper, a daily newspaper, a magazine? Who do you look at as the greatest threat from this business model? And then two, how do you look at integrating other parts of the News Corp global franchise? We see a lot of Fox content, a lot of Star TV content, et cetera. It'd just be interesting to see how you're infusing different parts of the company into it. Thanks.
Well, the first thing I would say is my feeling about competition is you have to compete with everything now. I mean, I think that's generally true in the media world. I think it's especially true when you think about the iPad, where you can play games, you can read news, you can consume television and video and books. So you have to think, you're competing with Angry Birds at some level, which of course is how the editors must have feel it's been a big change for them. But I do think you have to have the mindset that you're competing very broadly, and that's part of the reason what I think you've seen us do here is again, focus on the distinct voice, the editorial style, the visual style, the pacing, the use of all the media that can be deployed. I think all of that is part of the competitive strategy.
Yeah, I'd just add to that if you just take New York alone, we have 2 morning long news shows on television competing with each other. We have the Wall Street Journal, we have the New York Post. This is one more voice, and they're all competitive.
Lance Yolanoff, PCMag.com. I have a question about the breaking news element. You mentioned something about sort of breaking in if something is happening, so real time. One, how does that work? And two, how do you decide so you don't overwhelm people? Because if you go to any website that covers news, they stack up their breaking news banners, and it seems that everything is breaking news.
Jesse?
We actually have a lot of different ways to handle breaking news in the application. We can, as I said, we can bring in Twitter feeds. We can link out to the web. We have tickers that can go across the bottom of pages that we can pump headlines and stories into. We can drop in a new page with a new story anytime we want to do so, and we will. If we want to change the front page at 10 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon, we will and we can. This is not a once-a-day static product. That said, I believe just as a consumer, I don't love the experience of a constantly changing, every 5 minutes, a whole new thing at the top of a website. I find that a not very compelling experience. I like to have a great voice telling me that they think is interesting, what they think is worth my time and worthwhile. So that's how we're gonna make the judgments.
And what we just showed you a few moments ago is, as I said, the real thing for today. And we're having a discussion backstage. What if something else happens in Egypt while we're preparing to go out this morning? That, it seemed, could rise to breaking in.
Ed Pilkington, The Guardian. Can you tell me what the political tone of the Daily is going to be? There's been speculation it's going to be more centrist than other parts of News Corporation to meet the younger, tech-savvy readership.
The editorial position will be in the hands of the editor.
I think, look, when we first started talking about this product, we thought, look, this is a new platform. We believe it's a new era. We really want a new brand, and we want a new voice. That's why we created the Daily. I think in terms of our editorial page, at the very highest level, we are patriotic. We love America. We're going to always say what we think is right for this country. We believe in free ideas. We believe in free people. As for specific issues, hey, read the editorial every day. I think people will be interested to hear what we have to say and perhaps surprised. But check it out.
Hi, this is a question for Mr. Murdoch. Lane Green from The Economist. How long do you anticipate the exclusive distribution through Apple and the iPad, given the number of other tablet computers coming down the pipeline? And does this marry News Corp and Apple closely in a way that is a long-term concern for anyone?
No, we've been quite honest with Apple about that. As other tablets get established, we will develop the technology to go on them. We will expect to be on all major tablets. Yeah. But we believe that last year and this year and maybe next year really belong to Apple. And that's just a market judgment.
Yeah, and one of the things I hope you had a chance to see is we're pushing as hard as we can on the technology and what you can do with the iPad. And Apple has not only helped us do that, they're continuing to help us do that. So we're really focused on how interesting and great a product can we make on this device.
John Friedman of Market Watch. Jesse, you talk about a new kind of voice for this. Tell us more about the voice you envision here.
I believe if you want people to come back to your product, you got to make them think and you got to make them smile. And I think I want to have great content in there that's incredibly compelling. I want to have a little bit of wit, a little bit of verve, some attitude, some punch. And again, the pictures and the video are so good. It's such an immersive experience. We want to design and think about how we create content for people that are going to spend time with this device. If you look at the usage numbers, just for instance, I know from the New York Post application, I mean, the usage times per session are 35 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. That's unbelievable. People spend time with their iPads. So we're thinking all day long, how do we then create content that's rich enough and immersive enough and compelling enough to keep them there with our application?
It's Michael Learmonth at Ad Age. Can you talk about the discoverability of this content on the web? I mean, apps aren't indexed in search. This content won't be part of the wider web. So do you have any ideas on how folks will discover this as they consume media off the iPad?
Well, I think the first thing, we've downloaded 10 billion apps, so I think people are finding apps without a problem. And so we're excited about having people download the Daily and getting their news that way.
Yeah, and look at the Apple Store as of noon today. Hopefully you'll see that people will discover it. And I think one of the decisions that we made that we feel really good about is, again, we focused on this medium, this device, and this audience that's growing every day. We didn't want to make compromises, and the web requires you to make certain compromises. We wanted to deliver a really great experience, and that's first, and then we figured people will come to it.
Will any of this stuff be available? Peter Kafka from All Things Do. Will any of this news be available on the same day it's published on the web? Will you be able to get any of the stories, any of the headlines?
Technically, the stuff is mirrored on the web, but we expect the primary consumption for a long time to be in-app. I mean, that's really what we're
What does that mean
to.
it's mirrored on the web? All of it or a sampling?
Do you want me to answer, John?
Yeah.
Obviously, not everything you can do in the iPad can be replicated on the web. So a feature that is built around touch interactivity doesn't make a whole lot of sense to try to transport that to the web. A lot of what we do, text, headlines, pictures, that's obviously shareable on the web. So for the pages in the application that we can do it, we create mirror HTML pages, and those pages are out there on the web. They can be shared, they can be searched, you can find them out there. So it's out there on the web. We may choose to promote those pages in our Twitter feed, in our Tumblr. We may push it out to people. We may use it to get a story out there on the web. We know people, obviously. There are many hundreds of millions, billions of people sharing content on the web, and we want to be a part of that.
I'm Rob Fishman from the Huffington Post. To follow up on what you guys were just talking about, will the Daily be free online on the web?
We don't anticipate that.
No.
Yeah.
So if I share an article to Facebook from my app and one of my friends sees it on Facebook and clicks through online, he would presumably have a paywall?
No. That page they can see for free. But you can't go to thedaily.com and get all the pages.
Will Travis, Dentsu America. How would you see this from an advertising agency perspective of redefining how advertising is going to be put across to audiences?
I think this is a chance to just make a terrific marketing environment, because you can have text, video, audio, all in the same place. And we have a bunch of things coming that I think will be truly innovative in this regard and how it's mixed. And we're going to encourage, and we are encouraging advertisers to produce for this. And I think that one of the great things about the iPad and the Daily is that this is going to be a terrific marketing environment. And I think going forward into the future, only high-quality environments are going to really command the premiums that many people would like to see in advertising.
I think they'll find, just to add to that, a huge opportunity here they haven't had before. They can put an advertisement there, the highest quality look, but if you touch it, it can turn into a video. I guess what they'll be charging a premium for that, but furthermore, they'll probably be, eventually, we'll get to the stage where they can press a button, which would say they'd like to hear more about it.
Hi, I'm John Gapper from the FT. Newspapers in particular tend to be targeted upmarket and downmarket, tabloid and broadsheet.
Well, that'd be your interpretation.
Okay, I'll put that out as a suggestion. But this seems to have staff from widely different backgrounds, and it seems to be blurring a lot of boundaries. Have you got any observations about demographics and targeting in terms of readership? Male, female, rich, poor?
Can I answer that one?
Yeah.
I'll tell a good story. The publisher, Greg Clayman, when he joined the organization, that was the first question he asked Rupert. And Rupert looked at him and said, "Everybody."
Hi, Eric Schoenfeld, TechCrunch. Mr. Murdoch, can you talk a little bit about your thinking on the subscription, having consumers pay for subscription here versus maybe, there's a lot of demand amongst advertisers for this new medium, and I suspect that you've done very well in terms of selling at least the initial launch, and advertisers like large audiences. So what's your thinking in terms of how big the audience could have been if you gave this for free downloads and just made it all on advertising versus, your subscription, which is what you're doing with your other properties online?
I think they'd pay a much lower rate per thousand if it was free than if it's paid for. They'll realize it's something that people want. And we'll be able to tell them how many people have seen their ad. It just won't be scattered out there. And we feel this is better for advertisers and will draw a better class of advertiser at a better rate.
Andrew Vanacore, AP. What do you think the split between subscription and advertising revenue is going to be? Is it going to be something like a traditional newspaper, or is it going to be more supported by readers?
I would anticipate that subscription is the larger part, particularly initially, and then as things grow, it might tend towards that 50-50, which is sort of, in many ways, the magical numbers. Thanks, everybody. Thank you very much.